Oh, roses. So appropriate for Valentine's Day being what now? 2 days ago, I guess. Today's the 16th, isn't it? Hopefully you remembered your Valentine on Valentine's Day. What the heck happened to my virtual background here? Did I turn it off? Thought it was on. Oh, we don't need to mess with virtual background. Let's get into some meat here today. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. Can you believe you made it through all these sessions?
Nope.
One more after today. Guys have been power troopers. I know people are still kind of jumping in and logging in here. All right, so today's a little bit about money, financial stuff, managing all this stuff, all this money that you're about ready to attract and bring your way. Who has a problem with money yet right now? You have a big problem with too much money coming in.
I wish that was my problem.
I was going to say, how many people want to have that problem? A little worse than they have right now. Yes. Well, again, guys, if you start applying, really, go ahead. Oh, I think you might have just been jumping in on a comment. Is there anything that you guys want to make sure we cover on financials today, or anything that you're curious about? Anything in particular? I always just want to throw it out there to make sure we at least cover it in the material. I'm stapling my book here. I've got to get some 3-ring binders for these. This is the, what, 4th time we've been through this now? I keep stapling and restapling. My system needs to be binders. I can just open it up and flip through. All right, no particular questions. Just want to absorb and hear some ideas for financial, how to manage the money, all that fun stuff.
Yes, all the help we can get.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, then we're going to just jump into the material and kind of run through. Obviously, as usual, just raise your hand if you have any questions. We're going to cover a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to try and stick to my notes better. I mean, actually, because this is just real world conversation, I can pretty much look at the slide and I know what I want to say, but I also want to just make sure that I cover everything with you as well. So today is about managing money. And that is a huge part of running a business. It is actually the one thing that is the biggest downfall of most businesses. And if you've ever heard before, like, what is it, like 6 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 small businesses fail after 6-7 years. One statistic you may have heard in real estate, if you were in real estate school, sometimes they'll talk about this, that 60 to 80% of all real estate agents fail out of real estate after 3 to 5 years. So actually, if you've made it in the business 5 years, kudos to you, because most agents, 60 to 80% will drop out of real estate for some reason. And a lot of it has to do with managing money, comes down to the taxes, you're an independent contractor and all that fun stuff. I by no means am a financial expert or a money expert, and I've probably managed my money wrong about as many ways as you possibly can. So some of this stuff comes from experience. However, the other part that is layered in there, like everything, it's when I know that it's not going right and it's not going as well as it should, I figure out a way, a system, some way to manage that and get that under control. So I have come up with some really, really cool, I mean, you guys today, cool, really cool systems to really help manage your money so you don't have to worry about it or focus on it as much. And in turn, over coaching a lot of agents over it, they have plugged the holes on losing track of their money as well. Just as your business grows, if you have a big vision to build a big business, anytime you're getting a team members in there and you start expanding that direction, your team can be pretty big. And if somebody on your team is managing the money, the commission checks coming in and making sure everything's going out properly, there's such things as embezzlement. And I've heard about people embezzling a lot of money from everything from an individual agent or their team clear up to an office, and had that happen to us in our office. The most
What?
unlikely person in the world had access to some of the accounts and took $70,000 from our office when I was part owner of RKW. And it really stemmed from a really nasty boyfriend that talked her into doing it, because she wouldn't have done it. But it's real, and it was real money, and it was really gone. So beyond just getting from managing your money, you're also going to want to put some of these things in place to prevent that kind of stuff from happening in the future. Okay, how many of you are a little more nervous about your real estate career right now and go, holy crap, I'm just trying to figure out how to sell a house, and now I got to worry about people embezzling? Yes.
Absolutely.
So let me see here. Make sure I don't have any notes on here. Well, actually, this is one thing that I did want to share with you guys. This is just an extra bonus little piece. And this is in, I think we're going to cover this in the book, but I wanted you to see it so that when it comes up again, we can talk about it. And it is a way to plan for what you want your year to look like, what you want your net profit to be, and then what you're going to have to gross to get that, what the gross commission. So the difference between gross, we're kind of going backwards here, but we'll come back this way. What is it going to cost you to run your business? What is the anticipated cost of selling a house? And you're going to have everything from your signs to your lock boxes, if you have a photographer, any of that kind of stuff, to the home sales. How many home sales would you have to have times that gross commission amount? And then we got to figure out what your gross profit goal is to get to your net profit. And so those are some real numbers that this sheet you probably want to keep in front of you all year long and track your business. And again, if you guys have any questions, because it's money, jump in, raise your hand, whatever. Oh, I need to open up the chat in case I see you guys chatting on the side. If somebody notices there's a chat in there and I haven't seen it yet, just let me know, hey, there's a chat or a good question in the chat, but you guys are all in your chat box as well. But so we're going to talk about just perspective of money first and the habits of having a financially sound business. So like in that thing, like that goal that I was just showing you, it's setting a profit goal that funds your big life and pursue activities and achieve it. Now, for many of you, if you're newer in real estate or just getting started and your business hasn't really started jamming yet, don't read into this big life too much. There actually is a have to goal that you might have to have. And I know a lot of people come into real estate hoping to get this thing off the ground to get themselves out of a hole or to get things under control or to get to a consistent monthly income that they can pay their bills or for whatever your reasons are. Just know that when you're setting that profit goal, you might be setting a goal and don't worry about what the number is. There's no judgment behind the number. It's your number. But you might need to know what your absolute bottom dollar nut is that you have to pay your bills. That way you're setting that up when you're getting ramped up to make sure you get to that point, and you'll go past that because you still want to have your big life, what you want to really do with real estate, whether it's open up another business, whether it's to fund a charity, whether it's to just travel and have fun, whether it's to be able to give money away like a Secret Santa, whatever that might be, you're still going to need to know that goal too. But you can have your absolute must, because if you have an absolute must number and you're talking with me about how many transactions, you work the numbers on that spreadsheet and you know what it is. And if you don't hit that 1 month, that means your electricity bill's not getting paid. There is, you're going to have to double your numbers, or you're going to have to get more efficient at what you're doing, or you're probably going to have to do both. You got to hit the nut. The goal can be this, and you're working towards your goal. And like Gary Keller says all the time, a big goal will take you through your smaller goals faster, but you might want to know what that base is. If you're struggling and if you fall behind 1 month here or 1 month there, and then you seem to catch it up and get lucky, get that number in front of you. Okay. If things are rolling and you got money and your bills are paid, and maybe this is even an extra business for you, this number is not as critical as this one, to just start shooting for that. But you also might need to determine what is the minimum I need to make in real estate to even make it worthwhile staying in real estate. So I know that sounds brutal, but you can play real estate all day long, every day. And I mean, you can just play real estate. It's fun. It's a fun business. But if you really need something out of it, and or you could be doing something else, make sure you're covering that bottom nut as at least. But estimate and save for paying your taxes. That's probably the biggest downfall of most real estate agents, is the taxes. And one thing I suggest too, I don't remember if I have this in my notes from earlier, but when I was expanding my team out of Kansas City into Lincoln, Nebraska, the one thing I learned, and you might want to adopt this in your business right now, if there's any chance that you think you might build a big real estate business or team, and if you are going to build a team, then they're going to be on some kind of split structure. If you've heard what different split structures are from other teams and you're thinking you need to pay a buyer's agent 50%, or you need to pay a listing agent a salary. Now I'm just giving you MREA models. MREA models in the MREA book would say a listing specialist who's working underneath you. So you've grown your business where you have buyer's agents, you have admin, and now you're bringing on a listing partner that's going to take the listings off of your plate or help you with them. They would say in the book that that should be a salary, not a commission split. Yet a lot of people still do commission splits. For somebody to make $150,000 just going on listing appointments, that's a pretty good gig for somebody, right? Especially if they just have your presentation down and they use the script. I'm going to kind of tie everything together every so often, but they use the script. So between now and when you list your house, there's somebody who's going to buy a house. You know, are you absolutely for sure moving? Because then what we really want is the minute you want your sign in the yard sooner, not later. And if they can use that script effectively, most of the time they're going to walk out with the listing. But also know, if you're going to pay somebody $150,000 a year to be your listing partner, then shouldn't you have like 3 to 5 listing appointments a day that they have to come in and work for 150,000, or maybe in your market it's 200,000, whatever the market bears. But shouldn't they come in and work for 5 hours a day? And if they're a listing partner, shouldn't they be on listing appointments? If they're not, if you don't have 4 to 5 listing appointments a day, then why do you have a listing partner? Right? So you got to look at your business as it's growing. But in the MREA model, if you're going to pay somebody a salary of $100,000 or a split, and if you're going to hire a buyer's agent as you're growing to that, and let's say you're going to give them 50% or 60 or whatever it might be, you should try to live on that split. Meaning, if you were running your business like a business right now today, and for many of you, look around you, who's on your team with you? They're probably all in the room with you right now. It's you, right? So if you're an individual agent and you're working with a buyer, what would you pay a buyer's agent? If it would be 50-50, then you need to pay yourself 50% like you would the buyer's agent when that closes, and the other 50% needs to go into your business account, and your business needs to pay for expenses out of that. And so here's the deal. Most people, if they do this, they're like, I can't live off of that. If they were a regular agent doing their own business, building it, and they can't live on the 50-50 split, then how is their team members going to live on a 50-50 split or a 60-40? It doesn't matter the amount. What I'm saying is whatever split you think you might do, or whatever split you've heard that if you hired a buyer's agent today you would do, you should live off of that when you work with a buyer. You should pay yourself like your employees. If you're spending most of your day doing admin work, you should be paying yourself $10, $15 an hour. And if you could just track your daily activities and record them, like I'm doing admin work, so I'm only getting paid 10 or 15 bucks an hour at the end of the week or month or whatever, that's all I'm getting paid for. Can you live on that? And that will put a perspective in your business like you would not believe, because then you're going to start going, that's not enough money. I need to make more. So then I need to go on more listing appointments. So I need to do more of that to go get more business so I can make enough to live off of that. And it just gives you the perspective of what your team members will be living off of as well. Because many times, a lot of people will bring somebody in, pay them some certain amount that they just made up or heard, and they give them all the crap they don't want to do. And there's no fun in that job that somebody's getting paid whatever they're getting paid, and it's doing all the stuff that nobody else wants to do. Go ahead.
Okay, Brad, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this is for you, just gave an example for a team, but for an individual, if any transaction that I have, you're saying that my commission, do you reply the same thing where putting away 50% for taxes and office materials or whatever? Because I thought as an independent contractor, there's a lot of write-offs that you have. So your tax is not 50% of your income. Your tax is, or even 40% of your income. Your tax is like, a little less because you have a lot of deductibles a lot based on the state. Because 50% is quite a lot.
Well, now that 50% isn't just taxes. 50% is everything, expenses and stuff. Your tax, just look at your IRS tax thing. You're like either in a 20%, 25%, or 30% tax bracket. You're going to be able to write off some things as well, but it'd be like a regular employee. At the end of the year, they collected more taxes than they needed, and you get a refund.
Right.
If you put away 30%, and if for some reason you suck at writing off your expenses, that money's sitting there. If you do a great job of writing off expenses and say you make half of that tax liability go away, then maybe at the end of the year in your tax account, which would be if you were putting 20 or 30% in there, you might have $20,000 sitting in there in January, and that's now vacation money or reinvested back into your business, or maybe it's bonus, maybe whatever it might be. It's actually considered profit on your business. So if you had a profit sharing model, you could profit share yourself that money back. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So you don't want to.
But 20% is, but sorry to interrupt, but even for like office supplies, gas, that 20% for your expenses, I mean, it depends on how much you're selling, right? 20%. So if you're taking 50% off, 50 is for your own personal, do whatever you hoo-ha money, right? And then say 30% you're reserving every transaction for tax purposes, and then you're reserving the remainder 20% for expenses. So what if you have like so many listed? Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, he's pulling the book on you, Raya.
I'm sure he is. So like, and that's good. So like you have 20% per transaction. Say you have like 2 transactions, if I'm lucky, per month. That's a lot of money putting aside. Gosh, how much am I really spending on my company, on myself, like work-wise, for me to have to take out 20% each time? I'm not challenging or questioning. I'm just learning to, maybe I'm not getting something.
Yep, it is.
I'm a big believer of taking it a bit away.
You know this book we talk about?
Yes.
You don't even have to figure it out. This is 28 people that make $1 million selling real estate. And this is the number, no matter which way you slice it or dice it. Okay. So if you, and what I want to show you here is this the millionaire.
What's the page number?
If you're in the book, it's page 177.
Okay. And if you're not in the book?
I don't know where it is. If you're not in the book, you're just going to see it.
No, you can bring it back.
Yeah, you're going to see it right here, and page 193. But what I'm going to give you the summary right here is this is showing if I wanted to make $1 million in real estate. I'm trying to get it to focus.
Yeah, I see it.
I need to make 2.4 million. So 700,000. Now wait, I'll put this in a better perspective for you. So hang on. 700,000 to cost of sale and 700,000 to operating expenses. So let's just change your numbers. Like write this on a piece of paper, right? $240,000 is your GCI, 70,000 is your cost of sale, 70,000 is your operating expenses, and
for the year,
$100,000 is your net income, right? It translates the same way. And this tells you what all those percentages should be spent on for salaries, for technology, for marketing, what your buyer specialist should cost you. And in this book where it says seller specialist at the top, you'll notice it says $100,000 because they're saying the best model is to not pay a seller specialist a commission split. So pay them $100,000 a year to go sit in front of sellers for a few hours a day, 5 days a week, and lock those listings up. That's a pretty good gig for $100,000. The buyer specialists are doing a lot of running around, gas, cell phones. They might be working with 7 buyers, showing them multiple houses. They are also converting a lot of those leads. Where a seller specialist, you're basically setting up the appointment and they're just going to lock it up. But right here, that 700,000 is 20, let me find my finger here, 29.2% of your gross commission is going to go towards operating expenses, and 29.2% is going to go towards your cost of sale.
Oh my
Now,
God,
let's round that up. That's 60%.
phone.
60%. Now, these are millionaire agents. These are the people that have tweaked it and tightened it up.
$24,000 for a phone bill. Okay, sorry.
You are going to spend 60% of your commission to run a real estate business. And if you try and live on 60% and put 40 back into your business, you're going to be stuck in a circle, the treadmill forever, and not be able to get out. Now, let me tell you the reality, Roya. The reality is that, so 60% comes off the top of the commissions, means you'll get 40% of the total commissions you ever earn will be your profit. It's 25. If you even get it to 30% profit, you are running super, super efficient, but you're not in millionaire models yet. So if you want to keep more than 40%, you better nail this book 100% and don't try and figure it out on your own. That's a lot of stuff in there that you're going to have to figure out on your own, and you will be probably under 25 or 30% profit if you're trying to figure it out on your own. These people are way smarter than us, but Gary was able to pull the commonalities together by interviewing all of them to figure out what that secret formula was. So yeah, we're talking taxes, cost of sale by the time you pay. And so when I showed seller agent and buyer's agent, when you're in those roles, pay yourself that amount, because then your business will pay for all the expenses out of what you set aside in your business account, but you don't put everything in your checking account, and then because what's in your checking account you'll spend. And then what happens is you get caught at the end of the year with no taxes, no any of that stuff. So it's a reality. Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of funny because now that I look back at it, whenever I'm calculating where I need to be in order for me to live after everything, this is where I'm going to be realistic. And now that I think about it, I'm actually laughing at myself how I was even like questioning it, is I do say, okay, 50% of it is gone. This is where I'm going to be living with every month, page in my bank account. And I didn't really think about it, but I guess I did consider a lot of other factors, but it's interesting. Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So we live off of what we put in our account, which I'm going to give you a secret on how to really do. I'm glad you're asking this question, because everybody, you're going to get the secret formula to make sure you can live off of whatever you're doing. And you'll still have access to the other money if you messed up and you can't live off of what you gotten. But the reality comes back to, if it is the 40% that you put in your real live checking account that you live off of, and it's not enough, even though the other 60% sitting there and you can get it, you need to sell more real estate. There is no response. Every time you tap into that, you're putting yourself out of business. So even though in the beginning you can tap into that to not pay your bills and get your utilities shut off, just know that every time you do that, you are putting yourself out of business and you don't have your models lined up right. And sometimes, like even on this chart of accounts, so number 3, it says use proven models and systems in the MREA chart of accounts. Well, that's what I was just kind of showing you. And in the back on the chart of accounts, it will tell you how much you're supposed to spend on marketing, how much you're supposed to spend on salaries. Marketing is 10%. And so sometimes in a same situation, Roya, that you were in, the agents will say, hey, we did really good profit this year. We only spent 5% of our gross commissions on marketing. So we saved some money and made more money this year. And I've heard Gary Keller in this exact same situation. And he said, those are the models and those are the formulas to get to $1 million. You may have made more money. However, you might have given up twice that amount by not spending that extra 5% on the right marketing. Because we know with the right marketing, that is trackable, that funnels, that cultivates, that spits out to those appointments and closed deals, and you do your marketing the right way, you're going to leverage another $5 out of every dollar that you spent in that extra 5% of marketing. Because if you're putting your money in a 5 to 10 times return thing, then you're getting $5 back for every dollar you spend. So you didn't save 5%, you gave away probably 25% increase in your profit. Does that make sense?
I mean, it's basically a gross profit margin, right? You want to always exceed over 35% as an entrepreneur. It's always 35% or more. So they're doing it at 50% profit margin.
Yep. And so this fiscally savvy by reviewing your financial monthlies on number 4, I'm going to share a formula with you on that you can really quickly, without a detailed P&L. Remember I showed you that detailed one that showed salaries and all that stuff. I mean, I don't like those. I hate those. And I definitely hate paying accountants to manage all this stuff for me too. It doesn't mean I don't do it. I just hate it. I hate paying for that stuff and I don't like it. So I came up with a really easy formula that you can get your expenses pulled out of your business, and whatever's left over at the end of the month is your real true profit. And you can pay yourself your profit every single month as a bonus. You're going to pay yourself your bare minimum that you need to survive. And if that's not, like, if you're not leaving anything in your business account because you need everything you're making to survive, you need to kick it up a notch, because you have to leave money. You want to leave at least 60% in that business side, but you're going to pay yourself a salary first, and then you're going to prepare your financials to secure for the future. So when you pay yourself first, if all your money goes into your business account and you pay yourself out of that, whatever money is left over is what I operate the business on. And that's going to focus me to really spend it on the right activities. Once I get this thing going and I'm spending my dollar on something that gets me 5 back, then I'm going to have money left over at the end of the month, and that's my profit. Now I can go back in and start securing my future by investing in different things, investing in more real estate, buying it through my business to invest in rentals or whatever it might be, whatever that future thing is. So anyway, the saying in there is money is good for the good it can do. And again, it's the hardest part is that we just put all the money we receive into an account, and we might pay for business expenses out there and personal expenses, and you kind of commingle your funds with your personal account, your personal checkbook. And you will find that, at least I've learned in my life, that we spend whatever's in the account. It doesn't seem like I can ever get $1 million just to show up and be sitting in my bank account by accident. In fact, most of the time, it's like you could have a great month, you could have a $20,000 commission check, and I'm telling you, within 3 months, you're back to just balancing your checkbook again, zeroing it out and putting the money back in. So we tend to spend what we make. Yeah, I want to make sure I don't have any notes on any of this stuff here. The main book that
What's that the formula, the secret formula?
The secret formula, it's coming. I got to put it in the right spot where it'll like sink in and hit, right? I will tell you that the one book, even though I wrote E-Myth Real Estate Agent, E-Myth by Michael Gerber, E-M-Y-T-H, E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The name of his book is E-Myth, and it's why small businesses don't work and what to do about it. You guys are a small business, so that's a good core book to read, where he's basically interviewing a lady that owns a pie shop, and she made an awesome pie. So what she do? She opens up a bakery because her pie is so famous and everybody loves her pie. What she wasn't good was managing money. She found herself coming in at 4 a.m. in the morning and working until 7 o'clock at night, trying to balance the books, clean up the store. And that's what we do. When we come in, we're like level 1 MREA is you're doing everything. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the checkbook, you're doing the collect the commissions, balancing the documents so you can get paid, going to get the listing, marketing the listing, you're doing all of it. And as a bad business person, you're going to have a bad business. And you definitely can't start out just hiring a whole staff and have everybody do what you want either. So you got to set those systems up along the way. So E-Myth by Michael Gerber is a great book to read. Let me see here. Live off the split that you would if you paid a team member. So we did that. I don't know if I said this, but I did that when I did my first expansion team. We actually started with $0. I wanted to prove that you could build a successful real estate business without investing money first. Because what I saw was everybody putting tons of money into their real estate business and going broke. And they were buying leads and doing all this stuff that wasn't generating business back for their business. And they would go broke and they got deeper, deeper in the hole. And I wanted to start a team with zero money. So gosh, you guys are going to be surprised to hear this. I told my brother, get a notebook, write down every name of every single person you know. This is day one out of real estate school. I want you to call 5 of them a day. I want you to write them a note. I want you to put them in this database. I'll take care of the rest. And so for 6 months, all he did was call people and talk to people, call people, talk to people. He hadn't spent any money. He was making a couple deals here and there because somebody was like, oh yeah, we are thinking about selling. So in 6 months, he had talked to 600 people. So he did have a sale or two within a couple of months of getting in. They were just random, but there was nothing. There was no image. There were no personal signs. We were using whatever office signs we could borrow. We had spent zero money on the business. No marketing, no advertising, no nothing. He was just talking to people, feeding them in the database. So we got him up to enough sales that he had saved. He was putting 50% when he was working with the buyer. He put 50% in the team account. He actually just did 50% across the board. So he lived off of half the commission. He put half in the account. When we built that account up to about $6,000, we then bought signs. So actually, I think we were around $2,000 when we did the signs. We built it up to about $2,000 and we bought 10 customized Korn team signs. And so now he had a listing or two happening. So he was growing. We did the same thing. He lived on 50% for the next 6 months. We got that up to about $6,000. And then we took out a page. This is going to sound old school, but we took out a page in the Homes magazine, the local Homes magazine there. And what I had figured out was between the inside cover to the middle of the book to the back cover, how many more leads we got by being positioned in the magazine. So we got the back cover of the magazine and we had enough money in there to cover the cost of that for 6 months. Now, our tracking it to get enough leads and business off of that back page was going to replace that money to keep paying for it. But so understand, I didn't go give him like, here's $6,000, dude, we're going to take out the back page of this magazine because it's going to get you business. I didn't say that. I said, let's earn the 6,000, set it aside and not have to live off of it. So we got that part going, the right thing in place first, which is finding people, putting them in the database, getting the phone to ring and getting business without that. Then we use the money from the business to pay for that stuff. So it's a little bit longer process, but if you got the long-term goal in mind, that my brother in Lincoln, Nebraska lived off of real estate for 10 years. Now, he really only sold about 25 to 30 homes a year, but he did that every year for 10 years. And within a year, people were, the agents that had been in that market forever were coming to him to learn things because he was so successful and making it look so easy. And all he was doing was calling people every single day. Now, the reality is he was my brother. So he didn't listen to me like he should have as a coach. So he didn't really do everything he needed to do, which is why he only sold 25 to 30 homes. He quit listening to me, but 25 to 30 homes a year is a good business. And it was better than where he came from. And he was in his 20s. He was able to pay off all their debt, buy a house. And recently in the last 5 years or so, after selling real estate for 10 years, he went back to what he loves to do. And he's managing a bowling center. Now, there's no judgment in that at all. He has been in bowling his whole life. His wife's family owns 2 bowling centers. He runs the thing. It's theirs. It's their business. The parents are retiring. So he's loving life every single day. Now, he works every single day, morning till night. He loves it, though. He loves hanging out at the bowling center. I wouldn't be able to do that. But what happened is real estate funded his life to get all that other stuff in place so that he could go back and do what he really, really loves to do. He hated calling people. He's an introvert, but it has to be done if you want to grow your business. If you're an introvert and you're not calling people, you better find somebody who's very outgoing and will call people for you because you have to have that piece in your business. All right, so let me see here. Okay, so on this one, financially sound versus not sound. Here's two different scenarios. You're looking at a commission check of $9,000. First of all, anybody that gets a $9,000 commission check within their first 6 months of selling real estate is already about to make big mistakes. But because you're in the hole and everything to get there, but you pay that commission check that comes to the agent is going to be $5,760. What the agent typically does is just puts that in their bank account and they spend it. They didn't put anything in a business savings account. They didn't put anything away for taxes. And if it's in the wallet, it's getting spent. On the other side of it, if that 9,000 came in and you're going to get 5,760, what you're doing is splitting off what you need for taxes. You're putting in your account. Actually, the business bank account gets 1,728 of that, and that's the 30%. The personal bank account gets 4,000. Now you got to make sure you take out your taxes before you spend it and just put the 2,419 in your wallet. The other stuff goes in a tax account because that tax liability is coming from your personal side. So that's how that money divvies up. And when you really figure this out, you're going to be able to get your business under control. So that is one transaction, $9,000. The net payment is $5,760, and you're getting $2,500 out of a $9,000 check. So if you want 9,000, yeah, go ahead.
Do they use the model of using different accounts to keep it itemized and separate? I know the commingling, but I know normally people will have like a checking account and a savings account. But where I used to do in the past, and people used to make fun of me, but it was the only way I was able to save money and keep me from spending it. When I would get paid, I would have a savings. Then I would have my own for my own personal use. I'd give myself a budget, and then I would have one for bills, taxes, whatever. So is it crazy to have one for tax purposes only? So whenever you get paid, you allocate that percentage to taxes, and another one to allocate for business expenses, and then allocate one for like regular household bills, and then have one for yourself, and the rest of it you just put away in a savings or a trust, whatever. Is that weird? Is that crazy?
Yes, perfect lead in to what Elizabeth asked earlier when she said, so what is the secret formula? It's now, Elizabeth. Now.
Oh, sorry.
Right now. No, that's fine. No, you're fine. I'm just having fun with you guys, right? Let me see here. I'm looking for my subject of money. On the subject of money. Okay, that's Gerber. Here we go. 5 to 10 times. Okay. You ready, Elizabeth? All right, here we go. So to answer your question, Roya, I'm going to keep it simple because everything you said made my head hurt a little bit, and keeping track of it already sounds confusing as heck, right? And if it doesn't, then that will work for you. You do what works for you, but I'm going to give you the simplest model possible. Right now, you all have a personal checking account at your bank, right? Now, if you don't have anything else, you're just going to go to your bank, and we're going to add, here's what you're going to create is a capital account and a checking account. And you can even do a capital account for your personal with a checking account to spend your wallet, right? 4 accounts really needed for this model that I'm about to share with you. So this is how Keller Williams offices work, by the way. They have a capital account, and all the commission dollars go into the capital account. What they do is they calculate what your split is and all that other stuff, and they only put in the operating account what they need to pay you your portion of the commission and to pay the expenses for the office at the end of the month. What's left in the capital account at the end of the month is the profit that they calculate. And in Keller Williams in particular, they'll take half of the money that's left in here, like 47 something percent, and they give that back to the profit sharing, and that gets distributed out, and they have their profit left over to pay out to the owners. So in that capital account, all incoming dollars go into the capital account. You only pull into your checking account what you need to pay out. You do not put extra. You don't do anything. You have your business running that you know what needs to be paid, and you only pull out that amount. Now, I'm going to show it to you in a different way for you guys, and this is in the MREA or the E-Myth Real Estate Agent. You guys know that guy, Brad Korn, wrote this with Michael Gerber. But this is probably one of the most genius things that saved my butt. And it's basically, you got a capital account for your business. Every commission check, everything you generate from real estate goes into your capital account. Now, if you know what your base monthly expenses are, when we said pay yourself a salary, you got to know what your minimum is that you need to pay your bills. Might be $1,500 a month, might be $2,000 a month, whatever it is. That's what you're going to take out and put in your business checking account. Also, if you have expenses, if you have anything that you're paying for, leads or any monthly expenses or whatever, you'll know what your business expenses are, and you're going to pull that out and put that in your checking account as well. So it's going to come out as one lump sum. Then you're going to take from your business checking account, you're going to write yourself a check for that base amount that you need. And this is where you could either put it in your personal account, but I actually created a personal capital account. I figured, heck, if that works for real estate, I'm going to put my total money earned as my individual Brad Korn into a capital personal account. And then I'm going to take out of there what I actually, the bills that are due, and put that in my checking account. So it's almost like your checking account is zero every 2 weeks. And it's whatever I had sitting on my desk on the 1st and the 15th. When I got my bills, they got paid 2 times a month because I only pull out of my capital account 2 times a month. That way I can't ever be out of budget and I'm not using it like a checkbook, right? So I would pull out on the 1st, I would just add up all the bills that I had for my personal account. And it was, I don't know, $850. So I would go to my personal capital account and I would transfer $850 in my checking account and I would pay bills. Now, really, I probably transferred $1,000 because we're going to spend $150 at the grocery store. And I needed $200 for gas. So I'm going to transfer that on the 1st. So I transferred $1,200 out of my personal capital account. Now, when the 15th comes, I'll do the same thing. Same thing with my business account. 1st and the 15th, any bills that I've got coming in that are, if I'm paying for office space or whatever it might be, plus my salary that I'm paying myself every 2 weeks. So that's only coming out on the 1st and the 15th. So everything goes into the capital account, only pull out what you need, then pay yourself out of that and whatever business expenses you have out of your business checking account. Then out of your personal, you do the same thing. You only need 4 accounts to make this work. And if you want to know if you're profitable or not, and you've only taken out money twice a month, if there is any money left in your capital account at the end of the month, and you don't need it for anything because you've got everything else paid out of your personal account by paying yourself, then you have profit. Now, let me tell you reality, what's going to happen as you're going through this process. So like today, go to the bank, open up the other accounts and get them set up. Do whatever's free. Whatever's the freest account they have that you can dump your commission checks into, right? And if you're being direct deposited, that's the one that needs to be your capital account. Then you're going to maybe set up a new personal checking account, one of the two. You got to get this under control though. So you have your commission checks being direct deposited in your capital account, and you're only going to pull out twice a month. So it can be all checking accounts if you're at a bank that's a free checking or something like that. But the capital accounts could also be something like a money market account. And without getting into too much detail, there's a little bit of interest, more interest that gets paid on that, as long as there's no fees to it. That as long as that money's sitting in there, it's earning just a little bit of interest. Guys, that's just free money. Take it from the bank anyway. You're going to cash it out at the end of the month anyways, your profit, or you're going to leave it in and see how profitable you can get for the year and reinvest in more marketing stuff. But anyway, you could set that up as a money market account or maybe a limited withdrawal account so that you get charged if you try to withdraw money out of there more than twice a month. And I think most of like some of the money markets, they actually say you can have 5 withdrawals a month and then they start charging you for it. So the objective is not to get into the habit of withdrawing out of that account. You better know what you need to withdraw out. And whatever you put in your business checking account and whatever you put in your personal checking account, if you run short, then you are out of budget. That is as difficult as a P&L needs to be. Profit, pull out what I need. And if I spend too much and I spent more than I thought, I'm out of budget. And so then you can just quickly go, why is my checking account short? Before you just go grab the money, understand why you're short. Oh, crud, I forgot about my internet bill. Okay, so next month, you know, that's now on your list and that's part of the money that you pull in to pay expenses. Now, if you come up short next month, what the heck? Why am I out of budget again? Oh yeah, I spent that extra $500 on that new little toy that I bought, right? So that's not going to work. You're out of budget. And the other part of it is you might find that you're needing to pull more into your business checking account than what you have in your capital account. That also means that you don't have enough income coming in to cover your business expenses. You are on your way to be out of business if you don't get more income coming in. The only and best way to fix that solution is to go get another sale. Well, they're hard to find. Doesn't matter. You got to go get it, or you got to cut back your expenses, or you got to cut something out. So this will help you trim your expenses down to where if you're short and you don't have enough money in your capital account to cover your expenses, you need to quit spending money on some of this crap. And it might be leads, it might be whatever. And Gary Keller will tell you all day long, you want to spend your money where you're getting a 5 times return. And this one method helped me reevaluate everything I was spending my money on. And I cut out a lot of really cool, fun things that people talk about on conferences and webinars and all this cool stuff they do, Facebook ad leads and all that stuff. I cut them out because they weren't getting me $5. I didn't lose money on a lot of things, but I did not make $5 for every dollar that I was spending. Meaning if I was spending $1,000, that $1,000 that I might have spent on something that month needs to generate a 1 commission sale every single month from that $1,000, or I can't do it. It needs to generate $5,000 to $9,000, or I need to cut it out. And if it got me 1 sale in every 2 months, so I'd spend $2,000 to make $5,000. So I still netted $3,000, but I spent $2,000 of the 5. So I only ended up with 3. It's not a 5 times return. It's barely double. I'm just getting my money back and I just made the same amount back. Those are the things I started cutting out of my business because they're too risky. If there's 1 month that it goes 4 months, then all I did was break even. So I spent $1,000 over 4 months. I spent $4,000 and I didn't have a sale from that thing for 4 months. I made $5,000 off of it. I'm $1,000 up. I was more stressed out about writing the $1,000 check for 4 months. That's not worth $1,000 profit because all I did was get my $4,000 back and I had $1,000 profit. That's not even worth it. Spend $4,000 to make $1,000. Ugh, it's just crazy. So those are the kind of things that I want you to take away from this class to pay attention to, that if you follow that formula of the 4 accounts, I know that is the simplest form of a P&L that you could possibly have. Now, eventually, when you get to the point you're busy and you have a MAPS coach, they're going to give you a P&L. They're going to have you track all the numbers clear down to the MREA numbers, right? The MREA, what do I want to say, cost of sale thing. And that's it actually in the book. I don't remember. Oh yeah. It's showing you in the back of the book, it shows you these cost of sale, all this stuff. It shows you the different categories that you put everything in. That, if you have the book, is on page 349, a sample profit and loss report. And what they're showing you is all the different things that you want to track. And that goes through, it goes through to page 360. So there's 11 pages of categories of things that you want to track at a high level business. But for right now, most people could start with those 4 accounts. And here's the other thing, that business capital account that has all the commission dollars going into it, you are the only person that will ever have access to that account. And that means that if somebody's pulling money into your business account and you have an admin person somewhere paying your bills and you're leveraged and you're doing all that stuff, they have to submit to you and only you what they need. And you should at that point know what your money's being spent on. And if that dollar amount they're requesting is different than what you thought it was going to be, then you need to ask why we're out of budget. And they need to provide a detailed report. And I don't know, I don't think you could get embezzled on that way, as long as where all the money coming in is sitting only has your authority to be released. That's probably the last thing I would ever leverage out, is to give a really good admin person access to the account that has all the money coming in. I don't think I'd let them have that, but that's just me. All right, so let's see here. Gosh, time's flying here today. The MREA models, I already talked about this. You got your income, your expenses, and your profit. You would have to be so super efficient to be netting 40% of your total commission dollars. And I'm going to say this too. If you are netting more than 40%, you get a $10,000 commission check and you spent 8 of it, you are not spending any money on any expenses in your business to grow your business. So you got to look at that too. If you are doing that, maybe it's short term to get some things caught up, but your business is not going to grow till you reinvest back into your business. And when it comes to cost of sales in that 30% where we showed the buyer's agent and the listing specialist, if you're an individual agent, you are the cost of sale. So think of it like the business is an entity. And this is E-myth all the way. The business is separate from you. You are not the business. You are a person wearing a hat as an admin person, a buyer's agent, a listing specialist, whatever, marketing person, and you are doing a role for the team at the time you're doing that item. So that's where you start to look at your dollar per hour activities and what you should be working on and focusing on. But you are working for the business. The business is collecting the money and it's paying you for whatever services you did. Whenever you run it any differently than that, you're running the commingle model and you're just kind of making as much as you can and spending what you can. And it's very, very dangerous too for people that don't have to do real estate. If someone has a spouse that has a really good job and it pays all the bills and everything, and this is kind of extra, that's the worst model that you could run, because it's just free money and you'll never be able to have a predictable business as long as you treat it like it's just free extra money. You need to still run it like a business. And if you run it like a business properly, you will have that free extra money being paid to you from the company over a forever time frame versus just every so often. So it's still run it like a business, even though it's free extra money. And then this just breaks down what that $10,000 commission check would look like. You're going to spend 3 of it on, that's going to be paid back to you for doing the showing of the houses. And then think about that. I mean, if you showed somebody 5 houses, it might be 5 to 10 hours, but you're making $3,000. I mean, you're making $300 an hour. Do I have a question?
How are you?
Great. How are you? Oh, we just got somebody muted or greeting. Oh, we got it muted. So out of that, $3,000 for cost of sale, $3,000 goes back into your business with a profit of $4,000. That's the MREA model. So this shows you the flow of money, which they talk about in MREA and a lot of stuff that we do. But your income is what goes into the account. Your expenses are what goes out, and that leaves you your profit. However, if it's the other way around and you look at what your profit needs to be and you know what your expenses are, then unfortunately, you might not like this number, but that's the number you need to bring in for income. So you don't need a coach to hold you accountable to do something you don't want to do. If you want $200,000 profit and you know you're going to spend X amount of dollars on expenses, which is about 30%, you can figure out what has to come in. And if you don't bring that amount in, you're not going to make $250,000. So your income from real estate can come from several different areas. It's listing a house, it's selling a house, referral income, that would go in that capital account. If you've got leases, it goes in that capital account. My profit sharing account, I actually do set up a separate account for my profit sharing, and I put it in a bank, and I do not sign up for online statements every month. I don't even have the login and password to know where I can log in and see how much money's in there. I'll check it every once in a while, but I want it out of sight, out of mind, and let it accumulate in the background. And that has saved my rear so many times because I didn't know what was in there. Emergency came up, checked it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got enough to cover the emergency. So I try to keep that one out of sight, out of mind. Really just manage 4 accounts, honestly. Cost of sale is related to each transaction. That's the commissions paid to the office. It's the royalty fees to the office, and the splits to you. Pay yourself a split on what you think you would pay a team member if you ever had a team, or what you think is normal, and make sure your business can run on that. That way, when you do get ready to hire a team and expand, that you know what, if you can live off of it or not. And you know if your business is going to make money. So I've got to pause out here and just say one thing about this real quick. That one of the things that I started out back in the day is I just started on the 50-50 split. And I even created a tier one time where after they sold 5 houses, it went up to 60%. If they sold another 5, it went up to 70%. It was basically rewarding somebody if they were going to sell, 8 to 10 houses a month, they would keep more of the commission. The 50-50 model has been said that it does not work. And the reason why it wouldn't work, well, actually, based on what we've been talking about total commission come in, what your cost of sale and expenses are, and what your profit is. Who can tell me just off the top of your head, this is not a trick question, it's easier than you think. What is the percentage that we say you're looking for in profit in a successful real estate business?
35, 40 to 50, 35 to 40.
40, yep. And the MREA model is 40%. So let me tell you why a 50-50 split, if you are on a team and you're getting a 50-50 split, understand exactly what's happening. The team wants to make about 40% profit. And they're probably making 25 or 30, and that's top agents sitting in a mastermind room with the top agents in the company. There's not, I knew one guy raised his hand and said it was at 40%, and that was about as honest as it gets right there. But if it's 40% profit and a team is giving you 50% split, do you realize that that is 10% short? They're giving 50% away, but they're only netting 40%. So they're giving more money away than they actually need to cover all the expenses. So when you think about that, if you're going to just pay yourself 50-50 split, then you better be generating some more business to come in because you're there to make up for the 10% difference. Because if the team makes the same amount every day and they can just keep it that way and make 40% profit, why would I bring somebody in at 50-50 and give them 50%? Now I'm 10% short on my 40 because I just gave away more money than I needed that I could have used for expenses to keep my 40%. So just think of that in terms of that cost of sale and that split structure, you need to know for sure that your team can run and be profitable. There are lots of big teams that throw out big numbers, lots of houses, $1 million in commission. But if you look at their net sheet, they're basically broke, or they're making $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, bringing in $3 million worth of real estate. So even I personally know a gentleman in our office, a young guy that sells 340 something homes a year. He brings in over 3.4 million in gross commissions, and he nets 1.2. He's really about in model. And that's the kid that I talk about all the time that has 11 Lamborghinis. But he's younger and he does net $1 million a year, but he gives away over $2 million to run the business, gives it away. And he's very efficient, and he's on the phone for 4 to 5 hours a day, every single day, 5 days a week. His team keeps him in the room on the phone is the only reason he can sell 300 homes. There is no other faster way to sell 300 homes. He has to talk to people every day for 4 to 5 hours. It is a job. but it's a job that pays him $1 million. So anyway, in this, I gave you that formula, and I know we're like right at the top of the hour. So this is that formula on your gross commission. Take out your expenses to figure out what your net commissions are. I don't know that we need to really spend a whole ton of money on or time on this. You can easily calculate out of your next 10 or 15 commission checks, by the time you take your 30% off, take your 6% off, what you're going to net. But then what you really want to do is calculate at the end of the day, after you've capped and you've paid in those amounts, that you're keeping 100% of your commission after that. So the faster you get there, the faster you can give yourself a raise. So I'm building the future. Just an activity to plan for your future is to work through the formula. This should be in your handout where you can figure out if you want to make $250,000, you divide that by 60%, divide that number by 40%, divide that GCI by the average commission income, which in this particular case, they were using 7.5. Yours might be 5, it might be 9, but you got to just work through this formula. You got to take your royalty cap and stuff out and multiply that by 30% on your operating expenses. So whatever your total money is, by times 30% will be your budget. And then you can calculate what your money would be at the end of the day. So if you want to net $100,000, there's what your numbers look like. You're going to have to put 124,000. You're actually going to have to generate $416,000 in gross commissions to net 100, because your gross profit's going to be 166. You're going to pay out 124,000 of that 400 in expenses, and you got your cap coming out. This one's just showing 23, and you had 56 sales to get that number. So 56 sales, ladies and gentlemen, is 4 to 5 a month. That's to make $100,000. So those numbers do not change. There is no shortcut. There is
How
no
much you said 20, I have to have 26 transactions with an average of how much for each?
Well, 26 transactions. Let me see. This was a average commission of 7.5. So if that's 56, if you had 26 transactions, your average commission check needs to be about 14 to 15,000 for you to truly net a $100,000 profit. So all I did was double this 7.5 to keep these numbers the same.
How much is that? I'm just calculating it. 15. Sorry. Okay. I'll use a calculator.
Really play with this formula. You can send it to me, have me review it, talk to me about it. See, but this is the formula that you're not going to like the number, because you're going to think, I can cut, I won't do 30% on expenses. Then I'll just keep more of it and I won't spend as much. Everything that you go out a model on here is not going to make your business grow. These are the actual MREA models. So best practices, just to pull all this together in a couple of minutes so I can get you guys on your way for the day. Gain clarity on what is driving you to be in real estate. That goes clear back to session number 1 or 2. Set your personal and business budgets. So right now, just start paying attention on the 1st and the 15th. Keep track of what you pay on the 1st and what you pay on the 15th. Start writing down, if you're going out to eat and you're doing stuff, just start tracking from the 1st through the 15th, how much you spent and what you spent it on. And then the 15th through the 30th or 31st, track what you do. So you can start getting an idea of what you're really spending. Set up your business entity, and that is those 4 accounts at the bank. It shouldn't cost you anything to do an additional bank account. And they're also suggesting for taxes. Now, expenses and other savings, that could be that capital account. That's what I would start with. Don't make it too complicated. Get to the point where you're in profit first. You don't need an expense account and a savings account when you're not even profitable yet. When you're spending every dollar and not even able to set taxes aside, you don't need all these extra accounts yet. Get to the point where your capital account has money left in it every month. Then you can start, when you pay out into your checking account, your business checking account, then you can take the other savings and put it in an expense account or a profit account or whatever. So expenses, I just put into the checking account on the 1st and the 15th. Download and use the MREA chart of accounts. You can download that online. You can Google it, or it's in the back of the book. Download tax accounting software to keep track of stuff. That's probably step 2 or 3 past just setting up the 4 accounts. Hire an accountant. will be the absolute best thing you've ever done, because they actually do pay you. They can set up payroll a lot of times to pay yourself from yourself. So all my money goes into the capital account. My tax accountant, who also does payroll, sends me a thing every 2 weeks on Thursday and says how much money needs to be in my business checking account before she pulls it out. So I have to go to the capital account. I sure as heck hope it's all there, because the checks are going out on the next day, and she's collecting for taxes and all that. And I don't even have to keep track of it anymore. They're being accumulated and paid every quarter by the accountant. All right, I think that's about it. Your daily success habits. All right, what are your ahas? And we'll definitely go to the feedback once you guys post what you got out of that and what you think about the secret 4 account formula. What's your ahas from this today? Was this good stuff? Is it kind of giving you an outlook you didn't have before you came today? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Are you all stunned right now going, holy smokes, I gotta go make some money?
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's all I got for you. We got one more session after.